Hey guys, this is Anon, and I have a preview of the AMX CDC, which is going to be a French Tier 8 medium tank. If it looks a little bit familiar, it's what the Dracula is actually based on, which is a Tier 7 medium tank. So, kind of similar profiles in that it feels kind of like a light tank, but has that medium classification. Getting right into stats, this is going to be a paper tank at its finest. 30 millimeters in the front of both the hull and turret, and 20 millimeters on the sides and back of also both the hull and turret. So extreme paper, lots of flat sides, so it will be high explosive ammunition magnet, especially because this tank is really large, kind of like the FCM. So it's got a big profile and is definitely going to not be super great as far as survivability is concerned, also taking into account that it only has 1,250 hit points, which is very, very low. It's kind of down in the T-54 lightweight range, which actually has a lot of armor for its survivability. So the good news is that it has fantastic gun depression. As always, the test server doesn't give us stats on that, but I can tell you it is pretty significant. I assume it's similar to the Dracula, so that will help your profile quite a bit at being able to work those ridge lines and make sure you can kind of mask the size of your tank as much as possible. Mobility-wise, this tank is fast, but not necessarily breathtakingly quick. 57 kilometers an hour top speed, which is definitely fast in that light tank range, but not in the class of necessarily the fastest. Not as quick as the Dracula, which is at 65, I believe, or the RU-251, which is even faster than that. The turret, or the hull and turret traverses are at 49 and 47 maxed out, which sounds good on paper, but I feel like this tank is much more about its straight line speed. Once you're going all the way, the turret, or the traverses seem to be a little bit sluggish, and it doesn't have that nimble atmosphere that I feel like a lot of people have gotten used to with the Dracula, where it can just go full out and turn on a dime. It doesn't quite have that kind of handling. It does, however, have just out of this world power to weight ratio, 1,320 horsepower engine on 34 tons, so it will absolutely climb any hills, go anywhere, pick up speed extremely fast. That is pretty much top of the line as far as that power to weight goes. The gun brings some good news, as it's essentially an improved version of the FCM gun. It's got a little bit less DPM at 2317 maxed out DPM, which is a little bit on, it's definitely on the low side for Tier 8 mediums. That is not fantastic, but the handling and penetration is phenomenal. 212 on your standard AP, 259 on your APCR. That is pretty close to top of the line on both of those, so you're going to be able to get through absolutely anything at Tier 8, and pretty easy penning of Tier 9 tanks as well. Also, 0.301 dispersion with great aim times. That is Panther 2 level gun handling, so it's extremely accurate. And I can tell you from shooting on the move, even against just bots, it is extremely accurate on the move and while kind of peek-booming and running around. So even though it's not got a lot of armor, that gun is fantastic, so you should be able to at least do some damage with it. And I think that is really the main thing on this tank, is the gun handling and the penetration. It's a really sweet gun on not necessarily the best package otherwise. All in all, I'm not too high on this tank because of its size and armor profile, while also having good but not fantastic mobility. I think it's a solid tank while not necessarily being fantastic. I am excited about the gun. The gun is really good. It's essentially, to me, a cross between the Dracula and the FCM. It's not, in my opinion, as good tier for tier as the Dracula, but it's kind of like an FCM that has sacrificed armor for mobility while having just a slightly better gun. So if you like the FCM or you like the Dracula, it's kind of a mashup, and maybe that's something you enjoy. But either way, this gives you a little information. It's coming in a event soon. It's not a grind event. It's going to be a crate event, kind of like the winter crate deal, but it's not going to have any grinding attributes. The way I understand it is it will just be based on luck buying crates. Don't have a lot of details on that, so you can't quote too heavily, but look for it coming soon. You might have to work for it a little bit if you want it, but here it is, French tanks. Enjoy, guys.